Hey gamers, welcome back to the channel. Steam Next Fest is here, bringing a massive wave of new demos to try out. I think demos are especially great for co-op games for a couple reasons. First, they're the perfect way to get your friends on board. We all know how hard it can be to convince the squad to commit to a new game and drop some cash. But when there's a free demo, well, that makes it a lot easier to get everyone together, get on for an hour, and ultimately get them on board for launch. Secondly, demos let you test out how co-op actually works before you buy. You get a feel for shared progression, player agency, difficulty scaling, all the systems that can make or break the experience. With that in mind, we played a ton of demos this fest and found something here for everyone. So let's jump in. These are our must-play co-op demos from Steam Next Fest February 2026.
At the start of the Far Far West demo, there is the usual disclaimer saying it's still early in development and full release is probably 2 years away, which is, typical demo stuff. But if I'm being honest, if they announced early access was launching in like 3 weeks, we'd be looking at each other like, are we hopping in day one to this? That's how good our first hour with Far Far West felt. To clarify what this game actually is, think Helldivers, but instead of aliens, it's a wild western setting where you play as robotic gunslingers clearing the plains of undead skeletons and ghouls. It's a goofy premise, and the game fully leans into that tone, but that setup also opens the door for some really creative design. For example, one of the bosses is literally a floating train. Yes, a floating train where you shoot the cars. It was pretty cool. There's already a solid progression system in place too, with multiple guns to acquire and upgrade along with spells you can unlock and enhance. You can mix and match spells with your friends to create different combo effects, which adds a nice layer of coordination and experimentation to the chaos. It's hard to sum this one up neatly because there's a lot going on and it was fun, so instead of over-explaining it, we'll just say this: go check out the demo.
I'm really glad this Nets game has a demo available because it's one of those titles you have to play for yourself to see the vision. Whisk is a 2-player co-op platformer supporting both online and local play, where the goal is simple: complete each stage as fast as possible. Each character has a unique movement ability. One can double dash while the other can double jump. The real challenge comes from utilizing those abilities while passing a sphere back and forth and ultimately banking it at the end of the stage. As you progress, the levels get more complex. You'll be tossing the sphere through hoops to unlock paths, coordinating movement mid-air, and tossing each other across gaps. At first, it's all about learning the course, but before long, you start finding cleaner routes, tighter handoffs, and shaving off precious seconds off your time. Climbing the leaderboard after a near-perfect run feels incredibly satisfying. Visually, the game is a treat too. The watercolored inspired art direction gives it a soft, vibrant charm, and the soundtrack is already stacked with bangers. Oh, and I should mention the sphere you're passing around is actually housing a cat, a dream cat if you will. I know that detail alone will sell a good number of you. If you want to hear more, check out our full preview of Whisk on the channel, and of course, go download the demo and try it out for yourself.
Gabe and I don't check out a lot of cozy games on the channel. It's admittedly a blind spot for us, and part of that is because many of them lean heavily into survival crafting, something that we don't always love. That's Outbound in a nutshell, and after about 90 minutes, we were totally okay with the fact that this is not our usual jam. In Outbound, you and your friends hop into a camper van and explore a large outdoor area, stopping at campsites, unlocking upgrades for your van, and gradually opening up new areas. It's very survival crafting coded, like I mentioned, but we did appreciate its sustainability angle with a dash of Surfpunk flair, and I always love Surfpunk. One thing we immediately noticed was the pacing. The van is slow, like actually really slow, but that's kind of the point. Because of that, we actually found ourselves talking more about life and random stuff and just hanging out, and that feels intentional, like it's part of the design philosophy for the game. So yeah, if a game like this could hook us even a little bit, there's probably something really worthwhile here if this is your kind of experience.
Windrose has had an interesting journey. Originally revealed as Crosswind, it was set to launch as a free-to-play survival MMO focused on PvP and a live service model. Since then, the team has pivoted towards a buy-once co-op-driven experience with dedicated servers and offline play. Personally, I love seeing studios make that kind of shift, and after a couple hours of the demo, I think there's real potential here. the survival foundation is still intact. After losing your ship and crew in the opening, you're dropped into the familiar loop of gathering wood, building a fire, and crafting a workbench. But where most survival games don't put a strong emphasis on combat, Windrose bucks the trend. The team describes it as Souls-light, and I say that tracks. Combat is third-person, stamina-driven, with a parry and a dash at your disposal. It could use some refining, but that's actually why I'm glad the game is heading into early access. There are areas I'd love to see improved, like combat feel, progression pacing, and difficulty balance. Still, when we finally secured our larger ship and sailed out to sea together with our crew, I couldn't help but feel hyped. Windrose has the potential to deliver a more grounded and serious pirate fantasy compared to something like Sea of Thieves, and that's a pitch I find very appealing.
The trailers for John Carpenter's Toxic Commando gave me two competing thoughts. This looks incredibly campy in all the wrong ways, but also maybe kind of fun. Now that we've played it, we're starting to think Saber might have pulled it off again because the demo was a blast. At its core, this is a classic horde-based zombie shooter, but add in all the trims and fixings you can think of. There's a class system, skill trees, customizable weapons, fantastic vehicle combat, and that legendary horde tech Saber has refined through World War Z and Space Marine 2. When the swarm show up, they really show up, and nobody pulls it off like Saber. The mission structure we played actually reminded us a bit of Helldivers. Yes, I'm bringing up Helldivers again in this video. We were dropped onto a map with a handful of primary objectives plus optional side activities that were tough to complete, but if you pulled them off, they gave you extra resources to slightly boost your odds of success. That risk-reward loop worked really well, and yeah, I don't want to go too much more into it because every part impressed us. It definitely again has that Helldivers-like DNA, but with a campaign that might lean into the camp in exactly the right way. I could be totally wrong in the end. Saber's quality floor is consistently high, and this is a title we've now got double circled on the calendar.
A lot of demos here are online only, but we did find a neat local co-op title called Gloomveil. This is an adventure game set in a fantasy forest world full of insects, and it offers very little hand-holding. It actually reminds me a lot of Tunic. Both games reward curiosity, hide secrets off the beaten path, and refuse to clutter the screen with map markers. You're expected to pay attention, explore, and figure things out on your own. Unlike Tunic though, Gloomveil actively discourages combat. Many of the bugs you encounter are peaceful unless provoked. The more chaos you cause, the more an ominous meter fills up, and before long, the entire forest turns hostile. Even NPC behavior shifts based on your actions, which makes the world feel surprisingly dynamic. The result is a mysterious, immersive experience that works beautifully in co-op. One quick note though, in the current demo, only one player can use a controller. The second player needs to be on mouse and keyboard, something to keep in mind. Gloomveil was a genuine surprise for us, and it's one we'll absolutely be keeping an eye on this year. Surfpunk is a hack-and-slash PvE extraction game wrapped up in a very surfer/islander vibe, as you can easily tell. The core loop has you and up to 3 friends exploring procedurally generated islands, fighting enemies, and collecting materials to upgrade your character for future runs. As you explore, you're not just looting, you're also crafting on the fly. You can build tools like ladders to ease traversal, or drop a flare that calls in supplies, healing you and restoring ability charges. It's a quirky game packed with a lot of different mechanics, but they come together in a surprisingly fun way. Each run ends in absolute chaos as you fend off waves of enemies and then scramble to extract, surfing atop a massive tsunami wave with just 3 minutes to escape. We actually previewed Surfpunk previously, so check out that video if you want more details. We both found the weapon classes to be a highlight, with offbeat options like a guitar or an anchor that doubles as a shotgun. While this demo isn't officially part of NetsFest, it was recently updated with improved onboarding, new cosmetics, and other additions. If you're looking for a co-op experience that feels a little different from the usual formula, this is definitely one to check out.
Look, if we're talking Steam demos that you need to try, you already know we're going to bring up Tears of Metal. This is the action roguelite that blends Scottish fantasy with Dynasty Warriors style gameplay, and yeah, we have mentioned it a few times on our channel by now. But that's because it not only looks awesome, it plays awesome too. The battlefields feel dynamic, the roguelite systems are genuinely interesting, and the whole thing just carries this infectious hype energy. One element I especially love is how you choose your path based on what each player needs for their build. That kind of decision making in co-op has the potential to get really interesting in the full release. There's a lot happening here that's worth experiencing firsthand, so do yourself a favor and check out the demo while you still can.
Chain Beast is an upcoming 1-4 player gladiator roguelite with both online and local co-op. To use a tired phrase, this thing is punching way above its weight. The game revolves around chaotic battles in the Colosseum while you're chained to your friends. It isn't as simple as just surviving though. You have to put on a show by defeating enemies in a variety of ways, earning you more gold. Between rounds, each player gets a random perk, plus there's an additional shared perk on the table that can be swapped between teammates. It's a small mechanic, but trading perks to suit each person's builds adds another meaningful layer of teamwork. There's also a healer you can visit to restore health, but naturally there's a catch. Every potion comes with a side effect, like a broken leg that causes you to stumble across the battlefield. All of this is wrapped up in a great art style that immediately grabbed our attention. While this demo isn't officially part of Steam Next Fest, it's one we played last year and absolutely wanted to shout out. We've got a preview up on the channel, so check that out if you're interested, and definitely give the demo a try for yourself.
Okay, real quick before we close out, we obviously could not check out every single demo ahead of time. We're just two dudes and we want to get this video up as soon as possible. That said, here are a few more you might want to keep an eye on, including Scott Pilgrim EX, a beat 'em up launching next month actually, Deep Dish Dungeon, a survival exploration game set in a handcrafted puzzle-focused dungeon, Farever, an online co-op action RPG in a large fantasy open world, and Damon and Baby, an isometric shooter with a really striking art style where player 2 plays as a dog. So there you go, a few more demos worth digging into if you've got the time. Alright friends, that is all from us. Thank you as always for watching. We hope you're enjoying the end of the month and getting plenty of game time in. Speaking of the end of the month, expect our monthly sometime in the next week. Then we roll into March with a ton of games worth covering. If you want in on all of that, be sure to subscribe for more co-op content or join our Patreon for even more perks like our recent play and banter on Yap Yap, a game that just released a few weeks ago. Either way, we'll see you all in the next one.